on my left, we also have Paul Kemprecos. Paul collaborated with Clive Cussler to write 8 books in the best-selling Pneuma Files series. Before hooking up with Clive, he wrote 6 books in a private detective series. The first book in the series won a Seamus Award from the Private Eye Writers of America. Paul, how has the vast geographic spread of the Pneuma Files series affected your approach to research? I presume it has presented difficulties as far as both the time it requires and the expense involved. So how have you handled this?
Yeah, it was a major thing for me because I had written a series based on Cape Cod where I live, private detectives. So I was pretty intimately involved with the culture and the geography and all that, the history. So that I made the leap to doing the thrillers set on a worldwide stage, and it was quite the leap. I had traveled a lot before that, and my wife and I still travel a lot, so that came in handy. But in thinking about it, I divided the research basically into 3 areas. One is the internet, the books. I have a bookcase full of guidebooks and maps. I have a whole section of maps becoming very handy. So that's the stuff. I've been working on a book that's set in part in Afghanistan, and I've never been to Afghanistan and probably will never go, but I've been reading all sorts of stuff. And sometimes I do a trick, like I thought, well, Afghanistan is kind of like, maybe like Arizona, and so I was in Arizona recently, so I could think of a scene in transposing rocky hills and ravines and stuff like that. So that was one way of getting to Afghanistan. The second way of research is on-site research, where I've actively decided to go somewhere to do research, but I'm kind of disorganized quite often, but I did do that in Turkey and I think a few other places. I did travel extensively in Turkey for the purpose of putting in the book. And the third way is what I call backwards looking. And you've been to a place and you're sitting there and they say, where can I set the scene that's really interesting? And you say, oh, I was in Italy a couple of years ago, preferably the previous year because of the tax thing. And the tax thing is really very important. Keep all your paperwork. But even if you go on vacation for a week and you spend one day looking at something that you can put in, and your accountant says, do whatever you want to do, it makes you feel comfortable, and you can write that off, assuming you're making some money that year. So I've done that. I recall one book, I'd been to Cairo many years before, and I thought, where am I going to put it? And I thought of the Cairo camel market. I don't know if anyone has ever been there, but it's a fascinating place. And I put a scene where the good guys and the bad guys are meeting, and I had absorbed a lot of stuff. I remember walking by one of the jails, the Cairo jails, which were very tough prisons. You go in, but you rarely come out. And I was able to remember that and put that in the scene. So I've done that quite often, where am I going to do something? And that has affected the plot, just my memory of stuff. So
everything is material, and if it can be deductible material,
so much. Exactly.